When did you both attend the YMCA?
We reckon about 1960 we started to go.
Yeah.
Till 63, which would put us
About 13-year-old
till we
when we started going.
16.
Yeah. My best friend Joyce Walker she was, and her uncle Joe Porter, he always went down there, and Joyce said to us, it's really good, and we can go and see what's all going on, and we can help in the coffee shop. Right. So that was what we thought. That was quite good fun, didn't we?
And I used to work from I was 14. Yeah. I worked in the coffee bar in the market, the espresso coffee bar.
Yeah.
Because
we stayed on at school till we were nearly 17 when we left.
Yeah.
So
stayed on for the commercial course at the White School.
So I worked in the coffee bar Saturdays, Sundays, and all school holidays.
Mm-hmm. And I worked in Woolies.
So where did you live? How did you get to the YMCA?
Lived on Kells. Right. So we just would walk down. Yeah. It, as I said, it was Joe that kind of said to Joyce. So Joyce said, "Shall we go?" And then it kind of, friends of yours went as well, didn't they? You know, you had different people who you worked in the shop with. I tended to be with Joyce. It was our first really getting out there in the big world. Because apart from that, we went to the Girls Friendly Society, which was attached to the church,
to St Peter's Church. But they had a youth club as well.
Yeah, they did.
Sometimes we went to the youth club as well.
Yeah, but Mum was really, because we only had Mum, she was really quite strict, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so we were very lucky to get to go, really.
If you're only 13 and you're walking into town on your own.
Yeah.
So we were independent.
Yeah, it was. But as I say, I mean, we...
But the girls who really went with all lived on Kells.
Yeah, right. That's right.
There was Hannah Stewart.
Yeah.
There was Barbara Cottier.
Yeah. There was various people, wasn't there? But
and
so as I said, that was what we did, and we went down there. We had different days that we would work on. You were allotted days, and it was just nice. I mean, it wasn't at all like
the coffee. It wasn't like the coffee bar in the market. You know, it was just a little tiny shop.
Yeah.
With a cooker, and you had a huge pan, and you used to fill it full of milk, boil the milk, and then you had a jug, and you used to pour the milk into the jug.
Health and safety didn't come into it then.
And you had a plunger, and
you used to
make the frothy coffee.
Yeah.
Fab, so it wasn't even a machine. You
was it. And we sold crisps and chocolate biscuits.
Yeah,
sweets.
It was all just all that kind of stuff.
Sort of stuff. I mean, there was no sandwiches or anything like that.
No.
Could you describe the layout to us of the actual room? Because some people said it was a hatch, and you went up some steps.
Well, you went up the steps.
It wasn't. I wouldn't call it a hatch.
No.
It was more.
It was like an open window, though.
Open window.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't a hatch, but it wasn't a hatch.
You went in the main door, didn't you? And then you would go to your right.
Yeah.
You would go to your right, and that was the room that was in.
That was the coffee bar.
And the window leading out onto the marketplace, that was there. And then, but within it, behind the door, you went up some steps, and then there was you called it a hatch, but it was just an opening, like a big opening with like a counter bit on it, wasn't it, to serve people on there.
And then there was a record player.
Yeah.
Some people were in charge of the record player.
A record player, a jukebox when you...
Oh, we never had a jukebox.
Because the jukebox came later.
Oh, it must have done. No, it was a record player.
Yeah.
And as I say, certain people looked after the record player.
So was it one of them little box record player things?
Yeah,
was it,
No, it wasn't a great big thing. No, it was just probably somebody give it.
I know.
You know, but it had to be what they wanted on.
I know, but it was so funny because there were such lovely characters, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, we were quite fascinated by them because there was one that everybody referred to as Elvis, He looked nothing like Elvis.
And his friend was called Adam after
and it's
Adam
Adam Faith. And they used to have...
didn't look like Adam Faith either, but when they used to put the records on,
they were up doing it. It was so funny. And then there was the little fella who was Billy Fury, but it was brilliant because the music then was, and still is, fantastic.
So were they older than you then? These
Yeah, they were older. Billy Wilson. Billy Wilson
he was very into Billy Fury.
Right.
So when it was his turn to be in charge,
Billy Fury went.
He now lives in, I think my husband said he lives in Tenerife and drives a taxi in Tenerife.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But as I say, the records, that there was the Searchers, Billy Fury, Dusty Springfield, Elvis, Carole King, Bobby V, Neil Sedaka, Roy Orbison, the Hollies, Jerry's and the Pacemakers.
It was all that was fantastic.
That was the
really
sort
was.
of music that we listened to in that time.
And were the records? Did they bring the records in, or were they already there?
Well, some were, but some brought their own in and took them home because, as I say, don't touch my records.
Yeah,
they were a bit like that. Some of them.
Yeah, but they were lovely characters, and we found it so funny, didn't we? You know, because they really thought there were these people, didn't they?
Oh, some of them.
But in a nice way. I mean, yeah, but in a nice way. But they really did, didn't they? They used to take over the room kind of thing. They were big characters, but very nice. Yeah.
Most of them were older than us when we went at 13, and they tended to be more. Well, it was young men's.
Yes.
You know, so there was a lot more men.
Yeah.
Well, boys and men as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were all nice.
Yeah,
there was no widows or anything like that.
I mean, there was lots for them to do there. They used to like the table tennis and all of that stuff, didn't there?
There was plenty
Football
to do
and
there.
things to do. Brilliant. They need places like that now. Desperately need them now. You feel sorry for the young people coming up now that they haven't got this kind of thing. We could remember as well, couldn't we, that the Haleses were there. Now, I don't know the Hales family. I don't know whether they were caretakers, but they lived upstairs in it, didn't they? Yeah. Right. The Haleses were, and Robsons.
Well, you said they called her Robson.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
And their family lived there. So I don't know whether they... But I know the Haleses were definitely there, weren't they?
So do you have any other more memories about what you did? And
is there any that particularly stand out?
Well, they used to have
we used to have dances.
We would have dances. We would have bring and buy sales to raise money.
Yeah.
What did you buy?
And it used to... Oh.
Stuffed fox.
I was only young, and it was like a fox fur collar, but it was a proper fox, and I got this fox, and
so
I took
it had
it,
the head and the
feet
head,
the whole lot, and I took it home, and at that time where we lived, my mum seen it and said, "It's not coming in here. You can get rid of that now," and she threw it out, and in order to keep it, because I was always daft about furry things, I put it in the coal house, but what I hadn't realised was it had glass eyes that lit up, and my mum nearly had a heart attack. She found it in the coal house. She thought it was a wild animal, and you know, it was so funny. We laughed about it, didn't we? But also, I remember at one of the I wish I could find this because I know I'd never thrown it out. I bought this wooden carved box. It was only like that big, with a lid on, and it smelled really musty. And somebody had put a bit of velvet inside, and I bought it. And you know, I've kept it all. I've kept it, but I don't know where it's at. It's probably on my son's loft. But I kept that box, didn't I? I used to think, sometime that will be valuable, this wooden box.
Like the fox.
Like the fox, but I think the fox is gone. And But we used to like to help at the buy sales,
we
didn't we?
helped selling tickets.
Where were they held?
They were in the back,
hall at
the big room at the back, and people used to come with the biggest pile of rubbish, and
she used to buy it.
I used to go, look at this! Mummy won't let you have that. But you just like that kind of thing, and it was always funny about the.
But they used to play football in the lads who used to come and practice. The band, they would have a band, and they would practice.
Do you know any more about what sort of band it was? Or?
Oh, just a pop band.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think they were ever famous.
What did they call Helen, who lives next door to Dave?
Oh, right, yeah. I can't remember a second time. Her husband,
John.
He used to be in
used to be in it.
Yeah.
They were always looking for a girl singer.
Right.
Can you sing? No.
And you mentioned dances as well. Can you remember what sort of dances? Was it practicing or actual dances?
The proper dances.
Proper dancing. Yeah, pop dancing. Yeah. I mean, I
remember rock and rolling with Joyce. We used to do the rock and roll. I can also remember rock and rolling to. What's that? It shouldn't rain until September. What's that?
Might as well rain
until September. I always, and it's strange that in your memory, I can remember being there in this dance, and there we were doing. In fact, me and my husband rock and roll, and we go to dancing now. Yeah. We go to like Sequence and Modern Ballroom, but you do all of the dances and that, and. I can remember doing that with Joyce, and strangely enough I remember that record and being in there, but it was such a lovely, well, you didn't think of it at the time, but really wholesome place, wasn't it? There wasn't any badness, was there? And people, there wasn't arguments and stuff. I mean, maybe on small scales, but most people, they really were. And they were very protective of us. I can remember Ted Amer and Ian Stale and them, and but they were very protective of us, because like we were like younger end probably. But Joe was always there, Joe Porter, very friendly with little Jimmy Fletcher, and Jimmy was just part of the furniture. He was just always there. In fact, he wasn't always inside. He just used to hang about on the pavement outside. You just used to always see him around it and that.
When you said you worked in the coffee shop, was that a volunteer role?
Oh yeah. You didn't get. I'd expect anything for it.
You got a cup of coffee.
You got a cup of coffee.
Frothy.
Frothy coffee.
The plunger, was it a metal thing with holes in it?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Like a stick with
the funny thing was, on Facebook, I had put to you about this plunger, and somebody replied to me and said, we were using the same thing 10 years later. You don't waste it if it's not broken, eh? If it's not broken, don't fix it. But it just seemed so strange. They were doing the same thing. A big tall jug and this thing. Brilliant. Just to do stuff like that. But it was nice. We went on a couple of trips, didn't we? We went to Blackpool.
Yeah, we went to Blackpool.
With them.
All right.
And which was a big thing for us to be able to go to something like that. But as I said, there was a lot of older ones and that were all fine, and on the bus everybody was singing and it was great atmosphere, and they were singing the latest records, and somebody said, and after they'd finished a few, they said, come on, what are we singing next? And somebody said, come on you lot, there's hundreds in top 10. And and that's someone else that stops in your mind, you think. You know, it's the kind of things that come out and you think, oh, they're all fucking things, lot. But it was just so nice.
So was Blackpool just a day trip that you went?
Oh,
on
yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
And what about the others that you mentioned?
There was a trip to Chesterfield, wasn't there? Yeah.
We looked for the zoo and they didn't have one.
Isn't that Chester?
We spent ages looking for this blooming zoo.
Probably most of the time. But we didn't get in any bother.
What were the fashions?
Well, then it was the can-can underskirts with the tight belt and the drindle skirt and the little peasant blouse and
stuff like
we
that.
tended to be and heels about that big. Yeah. I can remember once when I was working in the coffee bar in the market, I went out during my lunchtime and I bought a pair of shoes. My mother always took us to Charlie B's. That was the only place she would buy you shoes, Charlie B's. But this, I think they called it Stead & Simpson. Well, I'd seen this pair of shoes and they had 3.5, 4-inch heels. And I just fell in love with them. So I bought them and took them home. And my mother nearly put the stiletto through the top of me. But I can remember wearing them, going to the YMCA.
Really?
And one of the girls said, "They're the nicest shoes I've ever seen." Oh, they were gorgeous. They really were. They were brown. Brown. Oh, they were gorgeous.
What's a drindle skirt?
Well, it was like on a... With quite a lot of material, so you put the thing on so it would stand out.
Skirt would stick out.
Yeah, and things like that. And there was paisley, wasn't there? Paisley was on the go, like paisley material and stuff like that. I remember that.
Oh, I knew about it.
Did you? Well, no. She was too busy wearing sticky out. I remember Mum bought us these really lovely underskirts, remember? And we got up to them, and we had ones for every day, you know. I mean, we were at school part of it, but when you could go out, but you had ones for every day.
Like nets.
Yeah, like nets.
Yeah.
And we got up to the bus stop, and Mum lifted your skirt and said, "You've got your good one on." Didn't she?
She took me home.
She took it home.
She took me home.
She was dead straight.
She chased me round the house
with a slipper.
And I got under her bed. And she came upstairs with a sweeping brush.
She was the naughty one, I was the good one.
Oh, she was very straight. She was the most lovely woman, but she was very straight.
Can't have been. I mean, she had 4 of us to bring up when we lost Dad,
yeah.
when they lost Dad. And, but she was very strict.
She was very strict.
And you wouldn't believe it, because she was favourite.
They used to call me MF, Mummy's favourite. So God help us if I hadn't been Mummy's favourite.
But I do think it's a shame that there isn't such things now, and I do wish they would come up with something like that. I mean, we were sporty at school. We played hockey and everything, didn't we? You played netball, but not there. No. As I say, it was more just doing that and just mixing with the people. Yeah. That was what it was really. But it was a lovely place. I just think the YM just hit it right, because they're very nice people there, very nice staff there,
and plenty to do.
Yeah. So there was a wide variety of things for people to do, and people were just drawn to it really well.
Yeah. I mean, if you went to a youth club, which we used to go to the youth club at St Peter's, it was mainly records and dancing.
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah. You know, where that...
But it give you a good way of mixing with all, other ages.
Yeah.
I can remember getting ready. I don't know what night me and Joyce did, but we were going down there, and it was a Friday night, and getting ready, and it was in 1963, and the telly came on, and it said that John F. Kennedy had been killed in Dallas. And you know, like, you remember what you were doing, where you were going, and what happened. And I can remember that, you know. I mean, still went down. I mean, you're very easily influenced when you're young, and you don't really understand the politics in America and whatever. But to me, he was a hero. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure there's another side, which there is to a lot of people, but to me he was a hero, and it was as if it kind of stunned you. And I can remember, Joyce only lived up the road from us, didn't she? Yeah. And but that was like a shock, and I thought, isn't that strange, because that's where we were going, and that would obviously be well talked about down there, but it's just, that's one of my memories of it, is to think, oh, for something like that to come on and to tell you. Yeah. But as I said, it was well set up, because there was the table tennis, there was the all of the other stuff, the football and the stuff that they used to do. There was plenty, people weren't sitting around bored. I can remember the Haleses. Their son's Kenny Hales, and they lived there. And I remember going up to the top where they had the billiards and everything. And I can remember being up there. But that family lived there.
They lived there.
And that was the Haleses. And I could remember, what did they call the other? The Robsons, because Susan Robson lived there. And she had a sister as well. But I can remember them being there, but I don't know in what context, you know. But I do remember them living there. Somebody was telling us as well that there used to be like dancing lessons there, but that was later, because we go to dancing with Rainey and Bricky Anderson, and they used to hold dance lessons in there, because they used to have little formation teams and all sorts. And then after that we moved on to go to we were quite a bit older, Empress dances and things like that.
So why did you stop going to the YMCA then?
Probably just other things that we probably did. I can't remember it exactly.
So maybe you got old enough to go to the Empress?
Yeah.
Well, we were, 70, she let us go when we were 17.
Yeah, so it must have been.
We were first in and first out. Said they get a lot of drunks in, we never saw a drunk because we had to be home. We had to be home at 10:30.
Or won't be tired, yeah. There was a nice group of girls went, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There were a nice group of girls.
Barbara
Cottier.
No. Barbara.
Oh, Barbara Devlin. Yeah.
She was always there.
She was always there. Was Barbara. And I think they called him Charlie Devlin there. And I think I seem to remember, but I was saying to you, I didn't know whether he was one of these people who, like, watched over, you know, kids were off school. They went, is that right? And he went and did Charlie Devlin. And but Barbara was always there. She was part of it, wasn't she? I can't remember her name before she was married. But, I'm sure they met there, didn't they? I don't think we met any princes, did we?
Few frogs.
Well, you mentioned before dancing with Joyce, so you obviously danced with your friends and not with...
No, that's right, wasn't really.
Sometimes you did, you did meet boys.
Yeah.
You did, and you went out with them.
But in them days, when they wanted to dance, they would just walk up behind you, give you a shove on the shoulder, and you turn around, they were there dancing. Come on then.
Romance.
Oh, the romance, yeah. But it's just the way it was, you know. But yeah, dancing and music was such a big part of your life in them days, wasn't it? It really, really was. I mean, now I couldn't tell you, apart from One Direction, I couldn't tell you any of them. And of course we've got the grandkids and whatever, and they're going, "Oh, Grandma, turn that up." I'll go, "Oh, what is it?"
Yeah, same here.
But now you just don't know them, do you? But you knew everybody who was in every group and all the rest of it. It was just. I think we were lucky. It was just such a lovely time. Yeah. We were very lucky. I always think we
didn't. You didn't drink.
No.
You just didn't
I
drink.
still don't drink.
I can remember going to someone's house, and we'd maybe be about 16 or something like that, and they gave us a glass of sherry, and I said, well, we don't drink, you know. I mean, not to be thing.
Yeah.
We didn't like the teas.
No. But as I said, there was
frothy coffee.
Yeah, it was frothy coffee. It was just.
And there was Vimto. We used to do Vimto.
Yeah.
They used fizzy
hot
bottles of pop.
Yeah.
Orange.
Yeah. Hot Vimto, though.
Yeah, hot Vimto.
Hot Vimto was the thing, wasn't it?
Kit Kats. Yo-yo, mint yo-yos. That was what we used to sell, you know, things like that. Love Arts. But I think whoever was in charge, he used to say, write down what you want and I'll get them for you.
Yeah.
And he used to go to the wholesalers and get the stuff we wanted.
You just met nice people.
Yeah.
You just met nice people.
And they were older, so you got to meet older people. And they were good role models. Yeah.
So what would your one piece of advice be for the young people of today?
They haven't got the choices we had. Well, we didn't probably have a lot of choices, but there were good choices. I just wished that there was more of that kind of thing for young people to do now. I just do. And you'd wonder why it isn't being...
nobody sat in the park and drank.
No.
Like they do now. And drugs and cigarettes and...
No, it was just all... Just really innocent fun. Just music and laughter, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just wish there was things for, Well, I mean, we've got teenage... You've got teenage grandchildren, and I have as well now.
And thank God they're all sensible. Yeah. It's lovely that they are sensible.
Yeah. You do worry about young uns coming up now for some of the influences, don't you?
Just keep off drugs. I think that my thing is keep off drugs and know your limitations with alcohol and
I think it's about being proud of who you are and think of yourself as better than that. If you see the things that people do wrong, it doesn't mean that's the right thing to be doing. You know what is right as well, and be a better person. Because a better person, there is some people, and probably there've been nothing wrong with their parents, but they've made bad choices with friends or whatever, and it is a worry to think of them being wrongly influenced. And some of them think it's clever to follow what these lot are doing, and it's not. And it's a stronger person who can stand up and go, no, I ain't going there because I'm better than that, and I've got more choice.
To have the role models.
Yeah,
at the YMCA, because as I said, there was no nastiness or.
No,
they were just nice people.
Yeah.